Hi, Talina. Hi, Gab. Modesty. Hey. Angelique's story. Now, I believe when you first came into me, you came with your mom and you were either 15 or 16 years old, right?
Yeah,
Was it 16?
I was 16. Yeah, 15 or 16 because I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, she was 15 years old when she first came into me. And how old are you right now?
20, and I'll be 21 in June. So,
Okay, so that was basically, we'll say 5 years ago. But here's the story, you guys. When Angelique came to me, as soon as I saw her, you can see why. As soon as I saw her, I offered her a model agreement, a model contract to sign, but she didn't sign. And that's like that's like one of the things, as an agent, we get so excited when we meet you guys. And for me, I'm like extra hyper sometimes. So when I want to work with you, I have to calm myself down so I don't scare you. But
yeah.
I locked her cell phone number in my phone. I offered her a contract to sign. I waited for her and her mother to make a decision at 16 years old, and she didn't sign. You can take it from here.
I just really wasn't ready. Like, in the back of my head, I was like scared. I was in high school and I was like scared what other people think about me, stuff like that. And like, thinking back, like, I really wasn't ready. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I just wasn't ready. And me and my family were ready to. My dad actually did something to his knee, and we had to spend our money on that, so we weren't ready to invest yet. And that is super important in this industry. Like, you have to start somewhere and you like invest and believe in yourself. And I couldn't do that at that time, but then come around 3 years later, it was always in the back of my head. Like, I always followed on models. Like, I still wanted to do modeling. And so I was in college. I had my own job, and nothing to spend my money on. So I was like, I'm gonna invest in myself and get this thing started. And I haven't looked back since. And it's kind of crazy because I remember there's another Angelique B, and she's doing awesome things. But Leslie sent me an email, something about MC Square, New York, and she called me, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but hey. And I just took that as like sign from God. Um, I mean, we got back in contact, so I was like, maybe now's the time to try again. Like, I feel ready. Like, all this 3 years, I haven't stopped thinking about it. So I knew that it wasn't just like an impulse thing. Like, I really wanted to do it. So I was like, hey,
Yeah, it's like the timing wasn't right. And that's okay, you
yeah,
guys. It's not, a lot of people, you reach out to get into the industry. And then once you see like what's required, expected, you do have to step back for just a moment and look at what's going on in your life to see if you even have room to add modeling to your plate. But me, I locked the number in, being optimistic, thinking she's gonna sign. And like I said earlier, I have two Angeliques. And the other Angelique, Bledsaw, I think we were in preparation to go to New York or something with New York. And I emailed and then I called the contact in my phone, Angelique, and it happened to be Angelique Allen that I dialed in fake. And so I think that, like you just said, that kind of planted that seed even more.
yeah.
And so, again, that was when we first met, and it was 3 years later. I dialed her by mistake, but if we planted the seed, and she finally came in, I was so happy, so happy. So, yeah,
That's exactly the
when it's
same.
meant for you, it'll happen. You just have to, look at what's going on in your life and be real with yourself. And, if it's something that you have time and room to add to your plate, you go for it.
Yeah.
So, Angelique, let's talk about what you felt. It's only been not even 2 years quite yet.
Yep.
Some of the things that you felt in your so early stages of getting into modeling in the Midwest. What were you thinking in your head? And I'm signed now, and now I'm about to go to Tokyo tomorrow. And what were you
So
thinking?
I maybe it's just my personality type, but I never try to like I said, I'm a goal setter and I'm a go getter, but I don't try to like I don't set expectations for something. Like I'm the type of person, like I just want to try my best and go with the flow and see where that gets me. Because usually when I put my best effort forth, I get where I want. So, and I don't know, like I didn't want to like paint a picture and then be disappointed if it didn't work out exactly that way. So I was just open minded. I was just here to listen to Leslie, like follow her directions and advice. Um, and just try my best, like just show up and be available all the time. Like I knew I was going to do that, available all the time. And I wanted to be big, like I wanted to go as far as I possibly can. I still say that now, but I'm open-minded to, because, and I feel like that has to do with the way that I started. Like it would just fell into my lap. Like Leslie called me one day, even though I said no 3 years ago. And I just, everything happens the way that it's supposed to happen. So I'm a big believer in that. Like that was my expectation, that if I show up and do the hard work and stick with it no matter what, then I will be
It'll work for
successful.
you.
Yeah.
Because you shared like it was challenging, you know. You're not sitting here in Indianapolis. How far are you from Indianapolis, and how far do you live from Chicago?
So Indianapolis is 2 hours, 50 minutes from school in Ohio. And then from Indianapolis to Chicago is another 3 hours. So the trip is like a little less than 6 hours to get from school to. And I've made that trip like 5, 6 times so far since I signed in Chicago.
And you've got this nice 2020 Range Rover that's in good condition. She's like, no.
I wish
Let's
one day.
let's talk about the struggle. Like, what are some of the challenges you
Okay.
had to do?
Okay, I can tell you about that. I don't have a car at all. When I had a car in high school, and when I went to college, I didn't need it. So my parents sold it, and then I didn't buy another one ever. So I'll usually rent a car. I ride the bus. I ask my parents for a ride if I have to. I'm very independent, and I don't like to do that. But if I have to, I do whatever it takes to get wherever I need to go. And I work. I'm very independent, like financially also. So I put money away. I'm squirreling money away to save up for travel. But that travel has definitely been a challenge for me, because I can't just like up and go whenever. Like people don't realize you're privileged if you have a car, and I don't, but I still make it work. I be on the bus,
I was
plane,
gonna say,
train.
you've done like the bus, plane, and then haven't you like even rented cars a couple times to get to Castle?
Yep, I rent cars too, and that's my favorite. Because I do love to drive. Like I love road trips and everything. So, and it's worth it to me because I'm on the way to a job, and it's just an investment. That's how I see it, as an investment. So
So you hear that, you guys? No excuses. When you really, really want something, life happens, and it's going to continue to happen before, during, and after. There's no excuses. When you really want something, you just have to sit still long enough to try to figure out, how can I make this work? And then, you know, you look at all your options, and then you just go at it. You just do it. And so that has worked for you, having that mindset and that type of, discipline and characteristics about yourself to make it happen. So let's jump all the way forward, and let's talk about where you are now in the modeling game. You did a lot of local things, test shoots to build your book. You did a trip to Chicago and Miami, but that was for vacay first, right?
yeah. Well, I was like, I was going there for the showcase, but I was like, if I'm gonna be in Miami, we're gonna have a vacation while we're down there too. So I'm already there.
You went. I was referring to like the second time you
The
went.
second time. Yeah. I was visiting my sister. My older sister who lives in Tampa, and I was like, I'm down there. Maybe I can go see some more agencies. And Leslie was like, let's set up a test shoot. So that's what we did. But make the most if you're going somewhere, man. So make the most of it.
Right, that's important, you guys. Like, regardless of where you live, what city, what state you're in, if you do travel for vacation, family things, that's an opportunity for you to build your business. Modeling is a business. So if you travel, like she was going to Florida to visit her sister, and as soon as she emailed me and said, hey, I'm going to be gone these days, I'm traveling to visit family, I'm going to push you to say, hey, while you're there, do you have any free time to do a shoot? What's your budget to work with so I can set up a shoot? Because especially when we're in the Midwest, when we step out of Indiana, and you go to another market like LA or Miami or New York and you test, you do shoots, it amplifies your portfolio book. It just sets it on a whole nother level, and then it starts attracting a whole nother audience of clients. So I applaud you for being able to and for taking advantage of doing that. Tell us what happened when you were sitting in Miami eating tacos.
Yeah, I was getting tacos with Pre. I've never met Pre before. We just getting tacos. She recommended this place. That's why it's so crazy to me that I was even there. But I was in line getting tacos, and the people in front of me, they were like looking at me, and I was like, okay, like, I don't know why they're looking at me. But and then they started talking to me, and they had turned out to be Wilhelmina Scouts, like Wilhelmina Miami Scouts. They were out on their lunch break too, grabbing some tacos. Because Wilhelmina was right up the street. So, and they were like, would you, like, do you model? Just asking me all these questions. And I thought that he was a model, too. Like, I thought he was just talking to me about it. And he was like, yeah, we're Wilhelmina Scouts. He gave me their card. And I was like, on the phone with Leslie right away. Like, I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, should I go in? Like, and I wasn't a scam or anything. Like, they gave me their card and they were just asking me a lot of questions. And I was like, yeah, I'm signed with L Models in Indianapolis. I told them about 10 in Chicago. They're like, yeah, great. Like, would you love to come in? Like, how long you're here? And I literally went in the next hour. Like, I just
Right.
walked up the street and went in there, and hopefully we got some things in the works from that.
Mm-hmm. So the original plan, you guys, the original plan is she was in Florida visiting her family. She connected with her L model sister Preet, which was already there in Miami on stay with her placement agency, CGM, you can write CGM, and they were out having tacos. And the original plan was Angelique to just do a test shoot while she was there so we could get some fresh, new, strong material for her book. And then once we got that work back, we would put it in her book and then she would go back to Miami. But something else was going on in the universe. The timing must have been what it was supposed to be. It's crazy because about 6 to 7 months prior to that, you want to talk about the showcase and how you saw agents and no one really, well, you did kind of get a yes. But.
Yeah, that's another crazy story. My whole story is a whirlwind. But I went, and back in last August, I went to a showcase where you get to see pretty much all of the agents in Miami. And one had interest. It was Posh International, or Posh Management. And they offered me a contract, and I signed that, and that was supposed to happen. And then my face happened. I got in an accident, and so I had to be put on hold. And then it never really worked out after all that time that I spent healing. So that's kind of that story.
Yeah, a little bit more about that. I think you were on a skateboard or on a scooter?
I was on one of those motorized Lime scooters. Like it's like a Razor scooter, but it's motorized. You can rent it. It's like a rideshare thing. And I was riding across campus on my way to a friend's house, and it was malfunctioning. It just stopped, and I flew over the handlebars, landed on my face. So damaged my like scarred up my face a bunch. So
yeah. What happened is she had to. She told me about her accident. She was okay. You didn't break any bones or anything, right?
No broken bones, no concussion, just cosmetic. Of course.
It was like really bad. Like this, the whole side of the face was like bruised. You posted those photos on your Instagram page.
Yeah.
So
I shared my story. Yeah.
Yeah, she shared her story about that injury. So think about it, you guys. We were in Miami for a model showcase where they had all of the agents in the South Beach market there to see not just L models, but some other models that were there with their mother agent. And one of the agents there liked Angelique. She went in and they loved her. And they sent me a contract to sign her. And then soon after we got home, she was scooting on the scooter on college campus and bloop, fell over and scarred up her face. And so what happens in that situation, you're still alive.
Thank God.
That's number one. Yeah. So it's not the end of the world, but it does change things. So she sent me some digitals. When we get off this live, you can go to her Instagram page and check those out. She sent me some digitals. So I could see how bad it was. And I told her we're going to have to hold off for any of the local opportunities in shooting too, to give it time to heal, which we can't control the time. And then I sent the digitals to the agency in Florida, and they said the same thing. And so
Yep.
I know that crushed you.
I was like, it was literally the day before I put my contract in the mail to you, and then the next day, that night, I went over the handlebars.
Mm-hmm. So this is what I've learned about not just this industry, but staying focused on what you want, regardless of what happens. Stay focused on what you want. Try your hardest to stay positive and optimistic, and then just go through what you need to go through, because it's going to build you and make you stronger. And then there's something greater on the other side for you. In Angelique's story, how long did it take you to heal?
I mean, I'm still not,
Come
maybe
real
4 months, 4 or 5 months.
Let me see. Come really, really close to the camera.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So
Yeah,
I
so yeah.
still have that, and I have makeup on right now, so you can barely see this one. And there's like a circle around this one, but the black mark, I'm gonna have to get something done on that.
Yeah,
Sometime
when
down
you
the
see the
road.
picture, it was way worse than that. But so it took her several months to heal, and so what we did once it was, a little bit more better, I set up some go-sees for her in Chicago, and so she went to Chicago, and maybe share about what that experience was like, because you had about maybe 6 or 7 different agency appointments set up for you.
I went to 4. I saw 4.
Well,
Uh-huh.
okay.
It was Ford, 10 Management, the Rock Agency, and one more. I can't remember what the last one
Option.
was. Option
Option.
one. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all very different. Like, it was kind of crazy to see like how they all have different vibes, and I felt particularly drawn towards one. Like, I felt very comfortable, and it was a really fun trip. Like, my boyfriend went with me, and we just made the trip from school. Just made a little fun day trip out of it. And it was really fun. Like, it was a really good experience to see all the different types of agencies. And then from the agency that told me no, I got feedback from them, like why, and like things that I could work on if I were to come in to see them again. So that was really helpful. But I ended up signing with 10, which going into it, I already like loved 10. Like, I followed them on Instagram, and Leslie has a few girls with them already, and I see what 10 does for them, and they seemed awesome. And then I went in there, and I just looked. That was the second place I went, and I was like, I don't know if I even need to go anywhere else, because they seemed super interested in me, but I wanted to get all the experience I could, and like go to the other ones too. But
Mm-hmm.
I just knew, like, honestly, I knew as soon as I walked
Mm-hmm.
in there.
You guys, it's like that gut feeling, and that's a lot of it. Like when you have an opportunity and you're torn on whether to take it or not, you do need to depend on your gut, your gut, I know a lot of models may come into the business and you really, only want to be with the top name agencies, not the top names, but the bigger agencies. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. We all are in the same circle, network. A lot of the agencies all have the same clients. So when you're presented an opportunity to sign, you go with what you feel. How did you feel when you connected and met with that agent and their bookers?
Love, instant love. Like, the way they're set up, it's not like a big agency, like with the big separate lobby and foyer and like all white. And it's just like very cozy in there. Like, I just felt so comfortable. And that's how I felt with Leslie too. And I would, another thing that I loved is that I felt like they wanted me too. And like, they made it clear. They weren't like, oh yeah, like, we'll let you know what we think later in a week or a month or whatever. They're like, we want you now. How long are you in Chicago? Because we have a job that we want to send you to today. And they had me try on jeans for one of their clients, and taking digitals and talking to me and asking me about my life. And that's how you know, like, when they're interested in you, that means an agency is interested in you. That means they have a plan or something they see you doing, not just, we want to have her just in case we find something for her. So that's why I felt I felt really wanted, and I felt like they could do something for me, and I felt like they cared, like they were like real people. I didn't feel like it was like very business, but they're also like very real and talking, like making jokes, and it was just very comfortable, and like
Very.
that is so important for me.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable. It's very important to feel comfortable with your agent and bookers. And if you can get that vibe and that feeling, like the first time you meet, um, if it's genuine, it's going to stay that the duration of the career. And I know they're genuine. I love everyone at 10, David, Jacqueline, Zach, they're all the bomb, and I have a good relationship with all the agencies. So what happened for Angelique, she came home, we talked about it, and then make a decision. And then boom, within a couple of weeks, she was placed with the agency in Chicago. And then I think you went back like a couple days later, had a shoot, made it in a magazine, and made it on models.com. What was going on in your head? Like all that boom, boom, boom.
I was like, every time I check my email, there's something else. Like every time, like I was like, this is what it's like. Like Leslie told me, once you get placed, like this is a huge step, and it's gonna start to pick up, and you have to be even more on top of everything. So, but I mean, I was ready. I've been at this for over a year. This is what I've been working towards. Like it's kind of scary to like how your expectations changed, but in a good way. So, and I was ready. I knew I was ready.
Yeah.
And it was a good fit.
That's the thing. You can't rush it. You have to bake the cake.
If you try to rush it, the universe will throw you off your scooter and tell you no. Because I did rush into the first placement contract that I got with Posh. Leslie was like in my ear, like, "Are you sure?" Like, just like devil's advocate, like, because she knew that's not the best one for me. And I was like, "But I got one. I want to take it. Like, what if it doesn't happen ever again?" So I don't know.
Yeah.
I was ready, and I didn't rush into it. And I really thought about it, and it felt good. It didn't feel like I was just like taking whatever came to me.
Right. And so back